Most fools aren't exposed by their enemies, they expose themselves. Watch closely, because in the next few seconds, you'll discover the two habits that instantly reveal a foolish mind, and you might be surprised how common they are. A fool can be identified by two things: the confidence with which he speaks about what he does not understand, and the stubbornness with which he refuses to learn what he does not know. Wisdom begins not with loud declarations, but with quiet curiosity. Thomas Jefferson believed that the mind of a person is like a garden. If you do not plant seeds of knowledge, weeds of ignorance will grow. A foolish mind resists cultivation. It prefers comfort over growth, noise over thought, and pride over truth. The first sign of a fool is the illusion of knowledge. He believes that having heard something once makes him an expert. He mistakes familiarity for mastery. Jefferson once emphasized the importance of education as the foundation of freedom. A nation that expects to be ignorant and free expects what never was and never will be. In the same way, a person who expects to be respected without effort expects the impossible. The fool demands recognition without preparation. The wise person prepares silently and lets results speak. A fool argues to win. A wise person listens to understand. When a fool enters a discussion, he brings conclusions instead of questions. He treats disagreement as an attack rather than an opportunity. Jefferson valued debate, but he valued informed debate even more. True dialogue sharpens the mind, but only if the mind is open. A closed mind is a locked door, no new idea can enter, and no old mistake can leave. The second sign of a fool is arrogance toward correction. He cannot admit error because his ego is fragile. Correction feels like humiliation to him. The wise, however, treat correction as a gift. Every mistake is a teacher in disguise. Jefferson once wrote that error of opinion may be tolerated where reason is left free to combat it. This means growth is possible only when we allow our ideas to be tested. A fool hides from this test. A wise person seeks it. A fool speaks constantly of what he deserves. A wise person works for what he earns. Entitlement is the language of immaturity. Responsibility is the language of strength. Jefferson believed deeply in individual responsibility. Liberty demands discipline. Freedom without self-control becomes chaos. A fool confuses freedom with doing whatever he wants. A wise person understands that freedom requires boundaries, effort, and integrity. When a fool fails, he blames others. Circumstances, society, luck, or enemies become his explanation. But blame never builds character. Jefferson faced enormous challenges in his life: political opposition, national division, financial struggles. Yet he did not surrender to self-pity. A wise person examines himself first. Self-examination is uncomfortable, but it is powerful. The fool avoids looking inward because he fears what he might see. A fool seeks attention. A wise person seeks understanding. Attention fades quickly, understanding lasts. Jefferson was not perfect, but he valued the pursuit of truth. Truth is not loud. It does not shout. It reveals itself to those willing to search patiently. The fool is impatient. He wants quick answers, quick praise, quick success. The wise know that anything meaningful takes time. A fool is easily offended because his identity is built on shallow foundations. The smallest criticism shakes him. The wise person stands firm because his identity is rooted in principles. Principles do not change with opinion. Jefferson's belief in natural rights was grounded in conviction, not convenience. Conviction gives stability. Pride gives instability. The fool protects pride. The wise protect principles. The fool repeats gossip. The wise verify facts. In an age where information spreads quickly, discernment becomes essential. Jefferson valued informed citizens because democracy depends on informed decisions. A fool shares rumors because they feel powerful. A wise person shares knowledge because it is useful. There is a difference between being interesting and being accurate. A fool seeks shortcuts. A wise person respects the process. Success built on shortcuts collapses under pressure. Jefferson's dedication to learning was lifelong. He read extensively, studied languages, and remained intellectually curious. Curiosity keeps the mind young. Arrogance ages it quickly. The fool stops learning after his first small victory. The wise begin learning after every victory. A fool fears silence because silence exposes emptiness. The wise embrace silence because silence sharpens thought. Reflection is the workshop of intelligence. Jefferson often retreated into thought and writing. Writing clarifies ideas. Thinking before speaking prevents regret. The fool speaks to think. The wise think before speaking. A fool measures wealth in possessions. A wise person measures wealth in knowledge and character. Possessions can be lost overnight. Character takes years to build and seconds to damage. Jefferson understood that the strength of a nation depends not merely on resources, but on the virtue of its people. Virtue is cultivated through discipline and awareness. A fool envies others. A wise person studies others. Envy consumes energy without producing progress. Study transforms admiration into action. Instead of resenting another person's success, the wise ask what habits produced it. Jefferson believed in self-improvement. Growth begins with responsibility, not resentment. A fool believes leadership is about control. A wise person knows leadership is about service. Power without wisdom becomes tyranny. Jefferson wrote about equality and governance rooted in consent. True leadership respects the rights and dignity of others. The fool commands to inflate his ego. The wise guide to uplift others. A fool avoids books. A wise person seeks them. Books are conversations across centuries. Jefferson's personal library was vast. After it was burned, he rebuilt it with determination. Knowledge was not decoration to him, it was necessity. A fool considers reading boring. A wise person considers ignorance dangerous. A fool reacts emotionally to every challenge. A wise person responds thoughtfully. Reaction is impulsive, response is deliberate. Between stimulus and action lies choice. The fool eliminates that space. The wise expand it. Jefferson's political life required patience. Decisions made in haste often create consequences that last for years. A fool thinks popularity equals correctness. A wise person values truth over approval. History shows that many correct ideas were unpopular at first. Jefferson's ideas were controversial in his time, yet they shaped the future. The fool follows the crowd because he fears standing alone. The wise stand firm because they trust reason. A fool promises more than he can deliver. A wise person under-promises and over-delivers. Integrity is consistency between word and action. Jefferson's legacy is remembered not merely for speeches, but for documents that changed history. Words matter, but actions define them. A fool sees criticism as hate. A wise person sees criticism as feedback. Not all criticism is valid, but all criticism can teach. The fool rejects every critique automatically. The wise filter it, keeping what is useful and discarding what is not. Growth requires humility. A fool laughs at discipline. A wise person respects it. Discipline creates freedom. Without discipline, goals remain wishes. Jefferson's achievements were not accidents, they were the result of years of intellectual discipline. The fool admires results but avoids the effort behind them. A fool seeks revenge. A wise person seeks resolution. Revenge prolongs pain. Resolution restores peace. Jefferson's vision for society involved laws rather than vendettas. Systems protect fairness better than emotions. The fool allows anger to guide decisions. The wise allow principles to guide actions. A fool wastes time complaining. A wise person invests time improving. Time is the one resource equally distributed to everyone, 24 hours each day. The difference lies in how it is used. Complaints produce no progress. Effort produces results. A fool mistakes confidence for competence. A wise person understands that competence builds true confidence. Empty confidence is loud. Real competence is quiet. Jefferson believed that knowledge empowers individuals. Empowerment without preparation is illusion. A fool ignores history. A wise person studies it. History is a mirror reflecting human patterns. Mistakes repeat when lessons are forgotten. Jefferson valued history because it provides context. Without context, decisions become reckless. A fool lives for today alone. A wise person considers tomorrow. Short-term pleasure often sacrifices long-term stability. Jefferson's ideas were designed for future generations. Vision extends beyond immediate gratification. A fool clings to comfort. A wise person pursues growth. Comfort feels safe but limits potential. Growth feels uncomfortable but expands capability. The difference between stagnation and progress lies in the willingness to embrace discomfort. A fool values being right. A wise person values getting it right. The distinction is subtle but powerful. Being right feeds ego. Getting it right serves truth. Jefferson's intellectual humility allowed him to revise opinions when presented with better arguments. A fool defines himself by others' opinions. A wise person defines himself by his principles. External validation is unstable. Internal conviction is stable. The fool seeks applause. The wise seek alignment with values. In the end, the two signs remain clear. Ignorant certainty and arrogant resistance. A fool thinks he knows enough and refuses to learn more. A wise person knows he never knows enough and remains a student for life. The inspiring secret behind true wisdom is not perfection. It is the relentless pursuit of improvement. Knowledge grows when ego shrinks. Character strengthens when excuses weaken. And the journey from foolishness to wisdom begins the moment we choose curiosity over pride.